Episode 3, Ruin and Rebellion. The storm that had been gathering on the horizon now broke with brutal force. In the highlands of Ngome, where Mzilikazi and his kin had sought a new home, a dark unease settled over the valleys. The escalating rivalry between King Zwide of the Ndwandwe and Dingiswayo of the Mthethwa was no longer a distant conflict. It was now bleeding into every corner of the region, including the lands of the Khumalo. For Chief Machobana, the danger did not come from a far-off battlefield, but from within his own complex family ties, and specifically from the man he called father-in-law, King Zwide. Zwide's network of spies and informants was absolute. Nothing within his kingdom went unnoticed. And when word reached him that Mthethwa patrols had entered Ngome territory and, critically, had not been challenged or reported by the Khumalos, Zwide saw not a lapse in vigilance, but outright treason. "My king, the reports are confirmed. The Khumalos did nothing. The Mthethwa scouts passed through their lands unhindered," said Zwide's advisor. Zwide replied, "Nothing? In my land, advisor, nothing is louder than silence. Machobana has made his choice." Ndwandwe, with a quiet but cutting voice, added to Zwide's words, "He forgets the price of divided loyalties. Remind him." Zwide's vengeance was swift and brutal. Without a formal trial, without ceremony, Chief Machobana and his closest attendants were seized. Their lives were ended. The shock of this execution reverberated not only through the Khumalo lands in Ngome territory, but across the entire region. This was far more than just a punishment for perceived disloyalty. It was a chilling message sent by Zwide to all who might consider defying him. And within that brutal message lay a profound betrayal that tore at the heart of Mzilikazi's identity. Zwide was not only his powerful grandfather, the man he had grown up observing, but now he was the killer of his father. The Khumalo kraal at Ndenaneni plunged into deep mourning. Elders gathered, debating frantically what course of action they could possibly take. But the once relatively united clan was now fractured, paralyzed by fear and uncertainty. An elder Khumalo, voice weary but firm, added, "We cannot remain here. The river now flows with the blood of chiefs. We must choose, kneel to the king, or rise and forge our own destiny." While the Khumalos reeled from the shock of Machobana's death, another thread of the region's story was violently unraveling to the south. Dingiswayo, the resourceful leader of the Mthethwa, was captured during a military campaign against an allied chief, Mzilikazi of the Kwabe. Some accounts suggest treachery by the allied chief played a role. Zwide's forces quickly brought their high-profile prisoner to the heart of the Ndwandwe capital. The end came swiftly for Dingiswayo. Some chilling accounts claim Queen Ndwandwe insisted the Mthethwa king be brought before her, that she looked into his eyes before she gave a silent nod for his execution. Whatever the precise circumstances, Dingiswayo was killed by the Ndwandwe. In the short span of just a few months, two significant leaders, the subtle, strategic Dingiswayo and the Khumalo chief Machobana, had been slain by order of Zwide Kalanga. The Ndwandwe king's power seemed absolute, and yet one man who served Dingiswayo, a rising figure many expected Zwide to target next, still eluded him. Shaka. The rising Zulu general, shaped by Dingiswayo's mentorship, survived the fall of his master thanks to a desperate act of loyalty and foresight. Donda, nephew of Machobana and cousin to Mzilikazi, He who dwells by the river waters had watched Zwide's power grow and witnessed his uncle's brutal end. He grew increasingly wary of Zwide's tightening, lethal grip. Seeing what had happened to Machobana, Donda rightly feared that Shaka, who had shown such remarkable promise under Dingiswayo, would be the next target. Risking everything, Donda sent a secret, urgent message to Shaka, warning him of Dingiswayo's death and the imminent danger now closing in. That crucial warning gave Shaka the vital time he needed to escape the immediate reach of the Ndwandwe and regroup his forces. But when Zwide inevitably discovered Donda's act of defiance, his fury was swift and absolute. Donda was executed, just as his uncle Machobana had been. His loyalty cost him his life. It is believed that Donda had offered some advice to Mzilikazi, perhaps knowing that the inevitable was coming. Donda said to Mzilikazi, "The fire that killed your father still burns, Mzilikazi, but if we carry his ashes in silence, it will consume us too." Donda continued, "Go to Shaka. He has lost his master. You have lost your father. Perhaps together you can forge something greater from these ashes." Mzilikazi, with a low and heavy voice, responded, "And what of Zwide?" Donda remarked, "Zwide has chosen his legacy, etched in blood. Now, my cousin, choose yours." Of the key Khumalo chiefs, only Peje, who had settled by the Ngome River, managed to survive Zwide's brutal purge. In the aftermath of Machobana and Donda's execution by Zwide, the Khumalos at Ngome needed a new leader. Of the sons of Machobana, Ndwandwe was born of the principal wife, Mthethwa Khumalo, King Zwide's daughter. As the son of the senior wife, tradition and expectation placed the mantle of leadership upon his young shoulders. Yet the Khumalo elders, their gaze fixed on the turbulent horizon and the looming shadow of Shaka, harbored reservations. They perceived in Ndwandwe a leader ill-equipped to navigate the treacherous political landscape. There was likely great mistrust in the closer Khumalo connection of Ndwandwe, given that Machobana had fallen under the hand of Zwide. Under these circumstances, the preference of the Khumalos gravitated towards Mzilikazi, the other son of Machobana. Mzilikazi was seen as having a resolve better forged for the trials ahead. Ultimately, the elders' judgment saw the emergence of Mzilikazi as the heir to Machobana. For Mzilikazi, now a man in his late 20s, the crossroads was stark and unavoidable. Zwide's throne, once a source of protection and power, had become a threat to his kin. He could not remain in Ngome under Zwide's rule. He would not serve the man who had taken everything from him. And so, Mzilikazi made his defining decision. He defected. He gathered a core group of loyal followers and traveled south, across increasingly dangerous terrain, seeking out the warrior general who had also lost his mentor to Zwide, Shaka, kaSenzangakhona, now poised to inherit the Mthethwa legacy and build his own. Shaka, with a direct, assessing voice, asked, "You were forged in his house. What brings you to mine?" Mzilikazi, with a firm voice carrying the weight of his loss, responded, "He forged the knife, then used it to kill my blood." Shaka, after a long, weighted silence, a flicker of recognition, said, "Then we have both lost fathers. Let us see what sons can build from what was broken." Shaka welcomed Mzilikazi, not just as a strategic recruit, but as a recognition of shared pain, shared exile, and mutual potential. Shaka knew the value Mzilikazi brought. intimate tactical knowledge of the Ndwandwe, the discipline of a chief's son, and the fierce fire of a man who had nothing left to lose but his future. Mzilikazi was swiftly incorporated into the burgeoning Zulu military structure. He trained under Shaka's rapidly evolving system, mastering the close-quarters combat of the Ikowa and the complex movements of the regiments. He rose rapidly through the ranks. For a time, their alliance was powerful, seemingly unbreakable, but as history would soon show, two stars born of such intensity rarely shine forever in the same sky. And so, the son of Machobana stood reborn, not as a vassal of Zwide, not as a relic of a shattered past, but as a formidable warrior aligned with the future. In fire and blood, Mzilikazi had made his choice, and that choice would forever change things.